Okay, here I am testing the ice maker outside on the solar. Now, I first tested it with the 400 watt power inverter, the Everstart that I own. Trust me, avoid that like the plague. It is a piece of crap. It should carry this without an issue. As you can tell, it is working. The Everstart should have carried this without issue, considering it only hits 156, 159 watts. This machine only pulls, it stays 2 amps while dumping, 1.7 amps while freezing and pushing the water through. So even if I combine those two numbers, it would be 3.7 amps max. So now I believe that Everstart only carries 3.1 amps. Excuse me. I've already started this video, restarted it like 3 times, so I'm not going to restart it again. Right here, I do have it hooked up to my solar. Now, I did hook up this large power bright 1100 watt inverter straight to my load. Now, it did carry this ice machine up until the point where it was scooping the ice. That means it was not getting enough power kicking through the load, and with the sun like going behind clouds and everything else, you can't keep a constant draw or power usage on your load. If you have something really low wattage, then sure. But having something like this, hook it straight up to your batteries. You do not want that much power going through your load, because your power will spike up and down on some, especially something as heavy as this. Especially when you get shade and shadow and sun going behind clouds. As you can tell right now, there definitely is not 400 watts of power coming in, and it's like 100 degrees, literally 100 degrees right now outside. I live in Missoula, Montana, and today's the 29th. You can look at it for yourself. I believe it's the 29th. Today is Tuesday, I think. Now, I did this out here, and I put it out here. I wanted to see how this ice machine would do in the heat. Because normally if you want to use an ice machine, it's hot. Especially outside. So, it works fine in the house. Now, this is a modified sine wave inverter. This is true. But there's no buzzing, humming, or anything coming from this ice machine. That means the ice machine is working perfectly on this 12 volt 1100 to 2200 watt power inverter. This was my $99 inverter from AutoZone.com. It's a power bright. And once again, I do have it hooked straight to the bus bars to get power straight from the battery, because I did try it from not just this inverter, but the small 400 watt inverter, and that Everstart inverter just constantly kicked, not only from up there on the load, but hooked up to the bus bars, because it has those clamps that come with it. You just clamp on there, and you lose so much power there because it can't have a good connection. So if you're going to use one of those, replace the cables. Make them bigger, heavier, more solid cables that let you get more power through it. Then maybe it would run something like this. But other than that, absolutely not. If you're just running a laptop or a fan or a light, sure, one of those will work for you. But if you're running something that draws a lot of power, or constant power like this, a heavier draw, and it spikes right now, it's only at 102 watts. And when it dumps the ice, this right here goes back, catches the ice and brings it to dump it in front. This power spikes. I believe it goes up to 179 watts. So, like I said, if you're going to use something on your load, make sure it has a constant draw, not a spike. This does spike. And believe it or not, I am outside, and this is as good as this camera is getting outside right now. Now, the ice machine seems to work great. It is a bullet ice machine. And remember, it is 100 and something, probably 100 degrees, maybe hotter out here. And it's doing this without issue. It's 108 watts. Now, if the sun was directly out and my panels were producing full power, this would draw absolutely nothing from my batteries. But since my panels maybe are producing, if I'm lucky, half of that right now, if I'm lucky, it will draw some out of the batteries. But it's having no issues. I would show you me testing it on the load, but my camera, unfortunately, the batteries, my rechargeable batteries went dead and it shut off. I had to replace the batteries, and the quality on the audio, it just did not pick up. So I just left that part out. But I did want to test it on my solar, and that's what I'm doing now. So I already know off of my bus bars, I can actually hook up 3, maybe 4 more power inverters to run different things. But if I was going to do that, I would definitely have more batteries. Alright, 114. Now, the heat out here has a lot to do with why this is working so hard, because, like I said, it's 100 degrees. And I'm trying to catch this while it dumps, so you can see how much power it actually does use. And I absolutely could not tell you what the name of this ice maker is. I don't see a name on it. So maybe I can see that once I go in the house and look at the video, or I turn the ice maker around. It's just a cheap ice maker. It was $75.99, I think. It was the cheapest one I found, more or less, on eBay, with free shipping. It seems to work. It seems to make cubes every, I don't know, I'd say anywhere from 6 to 8 minutes. Depends on how hot or cold it is outside or inside. It does work a little bit harder with it being so hot out here, because it is literally, I'm not kidding, 100 degrees out here right now. And that's in the shade. So it does have to work a little bit more. And it does make the little bullet ice. And they're actually a little bit harder than I thought they'd be. I did test this in the house before I brought it out here and hooked it up. So I got like a quarter of a sink full of ice that's just, sitting there thawing out. I know this is really boring, but I do want to get this power usage right here when it dumps this and make sure I got that for you, because it does use different watts when it's making the ice and while it's dumping the ice. While it's dropping and dumping the ice, it uses more power. You know, when it drops the ice and moves it to the front here, it uses more power than actually making the ice, which is really odd, but it does. And I want to get that for you. And make sure you understand it. You know, if you get one of these, yeah, it works great. It works fantastic. But running this, I actually had to have a larger inverter. And I apologize, there's a train over there. You're going to be hearing that. I'm sorry about that. And look at that, my battery's already down to 2 bars. So I wish this thing would hurry up a little bit, because my batteries are down to 2 bars. The train's going to interfere. But will one of these work off of a solar panel, a solar setup? Actually, yes. I would not attempt to run these off of a single solar panel, not a single 100 watt. I mean, 100 watts is not enough for this. And I have seen on YouTube where they have shown that, and I'm like, no, that is pulling battery power right there. And if you hook this straight up to an inverter from 100 watt solar panel, it's not going to get the power required to make this operate. And here I'm showing you it is hooked up to the solar. It is running off the solar. You know, and I have 4 panels, but right now there is hardly any sun whatsoever, and my panels are producing pretty much next to nothing. And I hope this camera doesn't shut off before it dumps again, because I want to get this again to show you how much power it actually uses compared to making it and dumping it. Right now it's making it. And that's the fan on the inverter, I believe. No. No, that's the fan on the ice maker. Sorry about that. Alright, here we go. I believe, come on. Alright, did you see that? How it spiked up? And now it's showing nothing. And after a couple seconds, the inverter will actually start showing the numbers again. So, can you run one of these off solar? Absolutely. Don't run it off your load. I did attempt it. It did. This inverter did run it until it tried to dump and the power spiked. So if you're going to use one of these, hook your inverter up to your bus bars or to your battery directly and do it that way. Anyway, I'm fixing to go. Like I said, I already attempted my 400 watt everstart inverter. It's a complete piece of crap. Avoid that like the plague, unless you have something super minor to run. Other than that, spend extra money, get something at least 1,000 watt that's decent. Even if it is a modified sine wave inverter like this one, it is having no issues. And on some things it does give a buzz, Our air conditioner running on this inverter, it will buzz. Our wash machine will buzz, but they still work. If you want a good pure sine wave inverter, check out the other videos I have. For a cheap, good pure sine wave inverter, it's around 170 bucks, something like that. 160, 170. Alright, I'll show you the ice. Yep. Well, there with that piece. As you can see, there's not hardly any water in here. I did not put a lot of water in here, but it will continue making ice because the back reservoir is full. So I'm just going to let this sit, let it run off of the inverter, and just let it continuously run until it tells me to add water. Now on the volts, that's what I have, 12.40 volts out of my 12 volt batteries. So anyway, I'm just gonna let it run, then I'll unhook all this, and I hope you enjoyed the ice maker and all the hassles I went through to get this. We're definitely gonna enjoy this. Alright, that's it. I'm Vizio. Everyone have a good day. Bye.